Hi. This is another video about Jesus. This YouTube video is specifically about how I find God through the little things, because the majority of the time I experience God is through the little things within life. It's not always just gonna be some big ol' gesture or event or just something big that's going to be like, oh, that was you, God, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. For me, the majority of the time it's through little things. Of course, sometimes big stuff happens and I'm like, oh my gosh, praise Jesus, that was you. But it's mostly the little things. There's gonna be a lot of background noise in this video, I'm realizing, but that's okay because I still want to make it, because I don't know when the last time or the next time I'm going to be motivated to make this. So we're just gonna keep pushing through. It's not necessarily like points of like how I find him. It's just kind of gonna be me rambling, because within all this rambling it should kind of make sense and come together. So hopefully it makes sense. The first thing is when I'm having a bad day, or I'm just kind of like feeling really confused, or a situation that I'm in, and I really need clarity or comfort or encouragement. And I'll put on a random playlist, and it shouldn't really have a Jesus song in it or whatever, and it'll play. A Jesus song will play randomly. I'll put it on shuffle and it'll play. And immediately, like, it'll speak to me about my circumstances or the situation I'm in, or it'll give me clarity or peace or comfort, whatever. Or maybe it's even a more worldly song that comes on and it'll speak to me directly. It's too much to be a coincidence that, oh, like, it's such a coincidence the world's like speaking to me, like it knows what I'm going through. It's like, you know, that is God. He's speaking to me, he's encouraging me, he's comforting me, he's there for me. And that's how, you know, I know that it's God, because it's like, it's way too accurate to be speaking to me the way I feel it is, or to give me the feeling that I feel. You know, the Holy Spirit just comes over me. This could also happen with, like, not necessarily just music, but like just in general little things. Like maybe I'm reading a book, which is very rare. Maybe I'll open up my Bible, or maybe my brother starts playing his heavy metal. Oh my gosh. I'll be reading a book, or I'll be doing an assignment, or I'll be listening to music or watching a movie, and then something gets said, or I read something specific, and it'll say exactly what I need to hear, or it'll be like almost the exact same situation that I'm in, and you know that it's God, or at least I know that it's God, because it's too coincidental, and it's not the world or the universe speaking to me. It's God, and he's trying to get through to me, you know, like, hey, it's okay, this is it. Or hey, I know you're confused, let me give you a little bit of clarity. Or hey, I know you're tired, keep going. Or stuff like that, you know. That's how I know it's God. Maybe, you know, I am having trouble with myself, and then the next day I go to school and my friend is going through the exact same thing, but she'll be like, oh, but it's like okay because I can do this, or stuff like that. And it's like, oh wow, like that's exactly the same thing we're going through, but she gave me encouragement, you know. It's like God's using other people to speak to me. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe my friend's going through something and I feel like I'm going through the same thing, but she's more down in the dumps than I am. And then I'm like, you know what? We can't both be like this. We can't both be sad. And so I'll give her encouragement, but through my encouragement to her, it's like more so like God's like, okay, you're giving this person encouragement, but listen to your own advice, you know? Like, this, you're telling her this is what I'm telling you as well. Be listening to somebody, and they'll be saying something, and I only pick up a few words from them, but those few words are exactly what, you know, I need to hear. And whatever they're saying might not be like relevant to anybody else. It might be like, oh, it's just words coming out of a person's mouth. But to me, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so insightful. My heart, it's filled with Jesus now. And those are the little things that I'm talking about through circumstances that I know God is speaking through me. That's how I find God. And even sometimes, I have questions, which is human nature to have questions. But I'll be searching for questions, and I'll be searching in like everywhere else but God. And finally I'm like, I need to go to God. Somehow everything, every question, every situation, every event turns back to God. It always goes, oh, I want answers, go back to God. And sometimes the answers might not be what I'm looking for, but it's what I need. Sometimes, the answers might not be clear, but that's okay because it's not for me to, figure out. It's not gonna affect my life like so dramatically, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what this is, like. And if it is something like that, then God will tell me directly, through those questions. I'm led back to God, and through situations I'm led back to God, and God will be like, hey, through everything I'm here for you, and through everything, it's me. I find God through questioning. I find God through situations, even the hard situations, even the situations where it's like you don't think I would find God, when I'm making a bad decision or whatever. When I am down in the dumps, I find God. And I feel like more so those times I do find God a lot more. Like maybe at nighttime I can't go to sleep, and then I'm just like left with my thoughts and negative thoughts, and then I start getting sad, and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, no. And I'll just open my phone, and then boom, I get a notification from YouTube, or I have a text from my friend, and it's just like random, like, I love you. And it's just like, you don't know how much I needed that, but God did. And he used other people. He used little things to speak to me, to reassure me that it's gonna be okay. He also speaks to me through blessings, which of course, obviously, but sometimes blessings can go unseen. But when you don't get blessed, you can't unsee that, because it's like, oh, why am I not getting blessed? Oh, nothing ever goes right for me. Sometimes you don't even realize that it's a blessing, but like, maybe a family member's health gets better from cancer. Those little blessings, through those little gifts from God or from other people, I'm able to see that, like, hey, I wanted this, or I was hoping so deeply for this, for my family member's health. I was praying so hard, and God answers my prayers, and God sees that I want this, and God is like, hey, I'm still here, I still listen to you, have not forgotten you. Here's a little encouragement, here's a blessing, smallest blessing it could be, but it's like, oh, I know that's God, he's still here, he's still acknowledging me. This is God, or maybe it's even through the hard times, just, bad times, to help you focus on him more, to help you grow, to help you, mature and become wiser. And through those dark times, it's like I can't go anywhere. There's nothing that I can do on my own. There's nothing that anybody else can do for me. There's nowhere to turn except for God. And it's like, oh my gosh, really, dude? Like, you had to make me go through that sucky time just so that I can acknowledge you. But it's also like, okay, God, I know that it's time for me to turn to you. It's been time, obviously, because I'm hurting even more so now, and now I just have to turn to you. And the minute I turn to him is the minute everything starts getting better, everything starts getting easier. And so it's like, okay, that's God. Even times when I don't feel like turning to God, or when I didn't feel like turning to God, or when I didn't feel like acknowledging him, or like I felt like he was just against us, or like against everybody, I would do everything I could to not turn to him. It ended up in me turning to him and like, okay, fine, like, what do I do? Like, I'm here, what are you trying to say? The minute I even just acknowledged him is when things got better, things got easier, and things like it was clear to me now that, like, you have to turn to God. You have to acknowledge, like, this is God. This is God, obviously. That's it for this video, I guess. Hopefully it makes a little bit sense, and hopefully, I don't don't know. Hopefully it just talks to somebody. Hopefully it helps somebody. Like, comment, and subscribe if you liked it. I hope y'all have a beautiful day. And I hope y'all continue to have an amazing time in your quarantine and make the best of this new year. And I'll see you in another video. Well, you'll see me in another video because I can't see you, but like you can see me in another video.